Pleasant good afternoon, one and all. Good afternoon. A pleasant good Friday afternoon to all the students of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today is Friday, the 20th of June in the year 2025. Welcome, one and all. Welcome to this Friday afternoon's edition. Like everything else, it has been a whirlwind day in terms of breaking news. Put me in the position here now where we have to rearrange this entire program. You see, we're busy, making sure we rearrange to give you the credible, valuable information. So share the live. I think up to now, some people have not caught on to the Friday afternoon. We have had, I think this is the 5th Friday afternoon straight. So the people have not caught on. So it behoves you to share the live, call them and tell them, hey, this afternoon going to be lit. We have so much to tell you this afternoon, all the breaking news. So share the live. Another great day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks to being in the land of the living. It is a privilege to be in the land of the living, and we should never ever take that for granted. I know I should not say it, but I'm going to tell you, nevertheless, that my colleague CC is already in the studio. He's waiting, raring to get into it and to give you the credible, valuable information. So share the live and give me a thumbs up now, please. Show appreciation. We're up to 400 and about 13 thumbs up. Share the live, give us a thumbs up. Gates were open at 1 this afternoon, and immediately students were there to get into the schoolyard. And when the doors were open a while ago, you're here in your numbers. As I've said repeatedly, we are thankful. And that gives us the even more reason why we must research, we must bring you the credible, valuable information that you may not find elsewhere. So share the live, don't be selfish, share the live, and we are going to be with it in a short while. Again, I remind you, today is June. Today is June the 20th in the year of our Lord 2025. Rushing for July, because July is my birth month. So maybe that is why I talk about July. But it's June. We're still in the month of the brides. So those of you who want to get married, you know the song from what we need, oh man, I want to get married. I don't care if they say a stupidity. Canary, Lord Canary. So yeah. If you want to get married, remember the wedding planner is still there. If you don't have a bride or a groom, the wedding planner extraordinaire can provide you with a bride or a groom. So the wedding planner is there. The wedding planner is there at police headquarters. So share the live, and we're going to get into it. Usual thing, the roll call. Very quickly, I'm going to fly to the roll call. In the meanwhile, we're giving people time to join. After the roll call, we're going to make some announcements, and we're going to get into the meat of the thing. We have a lot to tell you this afternoon. A lot for you to chew on and for you to munch on over the weekend. Program schedule, as I said, gates open at 1. And that man from up the hills, the man from the hills, he was Air Force. Barlett, first man in. Well, several persons came in at 1. Barlett is listed as number 1. And then we have Derek Trotty, Lucius Gibbo is listed here. Wayne from the UK. Simo from Texas, Randolph. Then you have Kevin Ulrich from West Demerara, Sean from upstate New York. They all came, or they are listed at 1. Then shortly after that, Father Masha, Esla, Felicia, Kerry from Maryland, Jacko from Georgia. The angel is here, John. Then we add Mary, Brenda, Patricia, Denise from Florida, Morton. Then it was Brian, Floyd, Carol, Paulette, Carrie-Ann Graham is here with us. Then it was Courtney, then Gavin, Salima, Maxwell, 11704, Beaton, Vashti, Hazel, Dexter, Earl, Claire, Rawl, Rhonda, get a little worried, girl. You're there too long in Antigua on this vacation. If you're getting married or you think, let me know, so at least we can wish you well. If it's that you're going to get married, I got to tease the girl, Rhonda, man. Then I'm still in the house, but she's now in Antigua. Then Michael Brower from the British Virgin Islands, Marlon, Dennis, Terence from Canada, 9795, Ashley, Moses, Joan from New Amsterdam, Vibeboard from East Bank, Aubrey from Canada. Then there's another Vibeboard, 9066, Lost is here with us. Tessa from Florida, Carl, Desiree, Alwyn. Then it was Dorette. Danny is here with us. Jakey is here as well. Henrik, Evanlina, Abera, Malcolm, Mark, Harold, Bobby, Smitty, Vibert is here. Bonita, Mali, Hope, Paula. That's what I say, Hope, that we all got to hope for the best. Carlton, my squad mate, Marva, Clyde, Clay, Melinda, Clarence, Phil, Patricia, Ricky Smith, Anthony, L. Ben, Colin, Aaron, Old Police, 6984, Winslow. Sad things, look at this, sad things wrong. Sad things wrong. Gotta pronounce it, gotta punctuate it properly. Sad things wrong. Glendis, Paul, Wenda, Lenin, Lorraine is here with us. Colin, Pauline, Cedric, 8219. Danny is here. Terence, this is Carto. Then it was John, Clive from the UK, Karen, David, Diane, Terence, Elroy, Nello, Sion, Pamela Westdam, Doreen from Canada, Francis Keith from Melanie Damashana, the true Guyanese is here, Cecile, Marvin, Patricia, Lennox, Umi is here with us. Then Michael B. Then we have Alfred, Lyndon, Isabella, June, Marcia, Ross Levi, Anthony Bradshaw, Peter's all on the east bank of Demerara, Michael, Imbai Madai in Region 7, Allison, Paulette, Claude, George, Angela, Lennox, Melvern, Ivor, Fredo is here with us, Princess R, Lamar Springs, Barbara, Roy from upstate New York, Monica, Richard, George from BV, Eric Camo, 8218 is here, Magnell, Pastor Smith, 9339 is with us, Alista, then it was Gladwin, Mark, Lawrence, Beverly, Joyce, Barbara, Junior, Tuana, Emerson, Melville, Wayne, Queenie is here, Karen, Dion, Hazel, Johnny, Denny is the secretary, Compton, Beverly, then you have Mark, Gordon, Claudius, Paulette, Heather is here with us, Jason, Abu as the first man. Well, Ella and Jason were the last two in the schoolyard. Abu, first man in the on the book. Altia, Lynette from Barbados is here. Then the list goes on and on. Denise, and the list goes on and on and on. Again, to tell you, Friday afternoon, people have decided they're going to sit back, take a sip of something, and listen. And we're not going to disappoint you. We are not going to disappoint you. Now, let me make the announcements quickly. The first announcement, well, we did tell you that today our brother was to be buried today. I am sure that by now things well on its way or may have finished. And we're talking about Lance Corporal Springer, Gracie. And again, may he rest in peace. His funeral was today, maybe at this time, 4:10, Northern West Coast Board, Beast, where he's going to be buried. They're still there with him, giving him his last rites. Then we get 462 days today. Alex Vaughn, Sergeant of Police Alex Vaughn, 462 days today since he was killed. We're going to keep reminding them. 462 and can't hear anything about that case. Can't hear anything. Now, for the happier announcements, today is the birth anniversary of, well, he's still a police, Senior Superintendent Ewart Ray. Ewart Ray. You know, Ray used to be the Deputy Chief Immigration Officer. He held that position during the last elections in 2020. And he was asked to provide information about certain people movement. And the information in the system, this is not something he manufactured. It showed that many of the people who they claim voted on the election day in 2020 were not in Guyana. That is what the immigration records show. And Ray, as part of his duties, provided that information. And they victimized him. They remove him from there, had him all over the place. East Coast, also other people are promoting. Well, today is his birthday. So how the system works, it means that he's going to be a police up to the last day in this month. And from the 1st of July, he's a civilian. So you ought to continue to enjoy your pre-retirement leave, my brother. And I know you are a man of faith. What is to be, will be. Right? What is to be, will be. As I've said repeatedly, man appoints, God disappoints. Right? Good man. They decide they're going to victimize him because he did his job. Because he did his job, they victimized him. Right? Then today, well, let me say this, a man who's here, Gavin. Today's CC, today's Gavin's birthday, man. Jakey's birthday today. Jakey's birthday, and he's still in class. That is why I like the dedication of these students. Today is his birthday. He's in class. I don't know, Jakey, if he's in class because you're hiding from the boys. I don't want to buy drinks, but I don't think that is the case. I think it's just that you are dedicated. You're a dedicated student. I decide you're going to be in class, and maybe you're going to celebrate a little later. And today, too, is the birth anniversary or birthday, as we say, of former woman sergeant Denise Woodman. Denise Woodman, our regulation number was 12396. I remember Denise, as an apprentice, I think she was at the band room, and then she spent some time at the general office. Then I think she was at some time at East Penitence police station there too. So Denise is celebrating a birthday today, and also celebrating a birthday today is former Inspector Fu. CC Squaddy 9040. Fu is celebrating his 75th birthday today. You know, he's the brother of Ulrich, who's on the program here. All right? Yeah, so your Squaddy 9040 is celebrating the birthday today. And we also have the anniversary today, a birthday today. I don't know if he's a student, but I know his father is a man who I learned so much from. And he has always showed me a lot of respect. And so I'm referring to no other than attorney at law, Roger Yearwood, the son of Pablo Yearwood, 6690 Reginald Yearwood, better known as Pablo. You know, Pablo was one of the men who guided me in this work. We had a very good relationship. Didn't always start good, because I was a recruiter at training school. Pablo came there in 74 as a sergeant, instructor, very good instructor, class instructor. But one night, you know, I was always in the wicked crew. I know some of my squaddies here, Frankie in particular, I remember on a Sunday night, I returned from pass, the weekend pass, and saw my squad mate, 9558 Thompsons, early o'clock, like 8 o'clock, I think they were sleeping. So, wicked me, I take a piece of newspaper, light the paper, pass it by foot, jump up. Unfortunately, same time Pablo was passing, and he saw the little fire. And Pablo decided to discipline me. He started out by putting me to work at the East Gate at the training school for the remainder of the night. That's from like about 9, 10 o'clock, remainder of the night. Well, who knows East Gate in the training school know that was the most difficult place to work. Because either the East Gate is the gate on Camp Road, facing Everest, right? And when the breeze come off the Atlantic there, oh my God, you were shivering. So Pablo put me there to work for the remainder of the night. But we lived in the bottom flat, H dormitory. So he used to tie me, and I get them, call them as compound sentry, tie me. So he would jump through the window, catch me a little rest, and when he come in, they allowed me to run. But all night Pablo had me there. And I ended up getting 7 days CB. Up on the midday train for 7 days because of that, right? Paris gave me 7 days. So I'm too wicked. I'm too wicked. Yes, I was very, very wicked indeed. And, I left the training school. I went to the TSU. At some stage thereafter, Pablo came to the TSU, right? I became an inspector, and Pablo was still a sergeant, brilliant sergeant. And with me and Pablo, it was never about rank. I had great respect for him, and he respected me for my rank, right? And he taught me so much. Reginald Haywood, brilliant, brilliant police. Brilliant. In closing, CC, I don't know if you know, but Pablo was so highly regarded in his knowledge as a police officer, in that Larry Lewis took him there as a personal assistant in the staff to write memos and all of those things. Derek Thompson took Pablo Haywood when Derek Thompson was DC admin to be there to write reports and to write things on his behalf. He was so respected, Reggie Haywood. So Reggie's son, Roger, is observing a birth anniversary today. Now let me wish all those who are celebrating today, who celebrated recently, and who are celebrating in the near future, all the best. All the best, right? To you guys, all the best. Today, no, not today, let me remind you, people in the US in particular, that the 21st, which is tomorrow, the 21st of June, is the official beginning of the summer. Is the official beginning of the summer. All the barbecues, all the get-together in the parks and all of that. Yeah, good weather. Well, you expect good weather from now until maybe October time. Then it's back into the old to cover up and so on. And let me say too, cricket in the air, man. Oh Lord, I enjoyed the cricket this morning. I got up early to watch India and England. India ended the day at 359 for 3. Jaiswal 100, Shubman Gill, the captain, 100. Rishabh Pant, crazy man Pant, is there on 50-something. Not out. It was a fantastic day of Test cricket. See men grind, and then explode. Fantastic day of Test cricket. And then don't forget, we have a match going on in Sri Lanka too, on that dead wicket at Galle, right? Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. Bangladesh batted for us 495. They actually collapsed because at one stage, I think they were 450-something for 5 or something. And then they collapsed to 495 all out. Shartman, my favorite Shartman, Mustafa Rahim, 176 or something like that, right? And then Sri Lanka replied with 400 and 400. Sri Lanka replied 490 something, right? So it was a close 4 innings. And Bangladesh batting a second time are 100 and something. They lead by 73. I know that by 177, they lead by 177. 177 or something like that is the lead. I can't give all the figures. But today, there is a 4th day. So one can expect that is going to pit out to a draw. But don't miss tomorrow, 6 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, when Rishabh Pant and Shubman Gill will resume the innings there. Wonderful cricket. And before I bring in, let me bring in CC, and then we're going to come back to say a few things more. CC, welcome, my brother. Hope you had a wonderful couple of days, and you are set for the program. I know you are.
Yeah, all set, because I'm in the land of the living. Praise the Lord. We're here to do God's work. Happy birthday to Jakey, my squaddy Derek, and also another Derek Trotty. I see you force among equals again. You're in the gold medal. You're in the gold medal area, and the wine's piling up. I understand you in United States of America. You make you slip out. Perhaps when you come back, you will bring the wine so that we can think. And then, Paul, I want to say something. This program is catching up so much. I was at Rob and Avenue of the Republic, Robson Avenue Republic, and there it is. A woman come across to me and say, "I'm one of your students." And happy, that she's not a police, because shaking my hand, if it was a police, you might end up at Ittering Bang or somewhere, like what happened to the police who were Morocco, shook the hand of Mohammed and ended up at Molson Creek. And Paul, she is a local, and I think it's your blood group.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny thing that only women coming up to you. We gotta watch it. Percy, JK. This guy is only women coming and come. Like men don't look at this program. Well, they don't see that Sean. Like it's only women meeting CC for congratulating you on the program and so on. Right? Lucky guy, man. Again, yeah. Somebody say again, CC. Now before we move on to the meat of the stuff, let me congratulate retired Deputy Commissioner Dr. Paul Williams. I saw a list of persons who are on the APNU candidate list, and he is one of those persons. Congratulations, man. Congratulations, Paul. Congratulations. I know you will do well. Paul is the next man that victimized. This government is uneasy, Government uneasy. They tell lie on Paul Williams. They told lies on him. I'm talking about the policemen. The squad and them tell lie. I saw the documents. They told lie on him. And the matter was investigated. The man was cleared. But I got big places when the president and I met in 2020, September the 16th. He raised what Paul Williams, allegation made against Paul Williams. I say allegations made against a lot of people. How did he know that? They tell you that. And you know what they did when they came into government shortly, within a short space of time? They decided that Paul Williams had accumulated vacation leave, 200 and something days. He must go up on it immediately. They send him off. They clear the way. They move Paul Williams, the deputy commissioner, from the admin position. And they bring Brutus, the same Brutus, senior superintendent Brutus and Bobbies, and they put him there. They made Brutus. So when you see they come back and all the thieving, 262 criminal charges and the jumping around, they brought Brutus there. When Williams annualized vacation leave done, they send it to COVID unit. And then when the COVID done, they send it to civil defense or something like that. That is what they did to that brilliant officer. But you're venturing into politics now, my brother. I wish you well. You see people saying that sort of thing. Let me make this point here. Because people have called me day before yesterday, the phone ringing, people calling, said, here, I'm going to be on the list and all of that. Let me tell you this. I have said it repeatedly. I ain't no politician. I'm a retired senior police officer with vast experience and knowledge in security and policing. And I am willing to share my knowledge and experience in that respect. Me and no politician. So you all understand this thing clearly. And in any event, I subscribe to the motto by Sheriff Duncan when he says, stronger together. Right? I believe in that motto, stronger together. Right? And I also believe in giving the youths a break. Very soon, I turn in 70. Why you want to get on any list to say, I'm a politician at this age? I want to be a politician. I wouldn't mind guiding the younger people, sharing my knowledge and experience with them. Let the young people run the thing, man. Let them take over. Some of them, you said, they get the experience. But will us older folks should hold their hands and guide them. So y'all understand it. Don't call me and ask me nothing but list and all this everything. I hope y'all understand now. That slow end up on no list. Right? I ain't going on no list. I'm going to be always available to assist and guide. And that is what I want to do. No list. Even when I was back in 2015, when I was assisting with the coalition campaign and so on, I made it known to them, you want to know what? I was working and I was being adequately remunerated. I was enjoying what I was doing. Told them, I don't want no work. So I am not them. I am running and hanging my mouth no way. Right? I am an agent, 00 not license to lick Bamsi, me and that type. So let me understand it clearly. So again, congratulations to Dr. Paul Williams. Right? I can't be a politician because I don't know if I lie and all them everything. I'm too straightforward. If you're ugly, I can tell you you're ugly. Right? I can't sugarcoat the thing. Let me tell you all this. When I was in the force, Commander A Division, a certain senior man, well, let me say, a certain speaker of the house, right? I got a message that he wanted to see me. He was also a practicing attorney. he wanted to see me. And I politely told him that in what capacity he wants to see me. Whether he wants to see me as a speaker, in his capacity as speaker, in which case I'll make myself available to him. But if he wants to see me in his capacity as a practicing attorney, my office door is open. He can come at any time. I told him that. I told them to tell him that. I ain't going to know, because the man is speaker, he wants to see the commander. If he wants to see me in his capacity as speaker, I'm going to come to you, because that's the type of respect I would show. But if you want to see me in your capacity as a practicing attorney, you got to come to my office. And here, let me tell you this story. When I retired in 2010, there was the Queen birthday function at the British High Commissioner's residence, and I was invited. And I met the gentleman there, and he came and he congratulated me on my service and all that. And then he said one thing, I must say, you were never a diplomat. I said, guilty, sir. Right? He said, you were never, I knew exactly what he was talking about. He said, what I got to say, you were never a diplomat. I said, I'm guilty. I don't want to be no diplomat. Because I told him what I had to tell him. Me as a commander, go into any office, to any lawyer to say, I discussing any matter. No way, you got to come to my office. I don't care who they be. Come to my office, right? Come to my office. So I say this to these commanders, understand how this thing is going. The politician can summon you to his office like that. I mean, I guess your police officer, the Minister of Home Affairs, yes, I guess. I used to go to meetings at Foreign Affairs when they had visits and so on, right? I would go there. And I taught them a lesson at Foreign Affairs. The other way, they will call you to a meeting, 3 o'clock, you'll clear your agenda because of some state visit or some matter of importance, and then 2:30 and long, the meeting then starting, right? And I tell them, say, hey, what's going to happen? Right? Hey, what's going to happen? I would turn up when I tell them, tell me ranks. Guys, I was not the only police officer. I used to go there as a capacity as commander of division and operations and so on at later stage. If the meeting is at 3 o'clock, at 5 to 3, I'm there. At 10 past 3, I gone. Tell them I was here. Let them send whatever information they have to send to me. I'm sitting down there, wasting time, waiting on nobody. That is disrespectful. That is the way I operated. They never like me because of that. They can't like me because I shoot in too straight, literally and figuratively. Let me move on. Let me bring in CC if he wants to say anything. Sure, you want to congratulate Dr. Williams as well. CC,
I want to congratulate him. I want to wish him well. And we were very good partners. I remember when I demitted office, police force, he's a person who took over from me. And as you mentioned, yes, they sent him to COVID-19. Not only COVID-19, a deputy commissioner, assistant commissioner, a senior superintendent and a superintendent. They had Paul Williams, deputy commissioner, Andrews Jr., assistant commissioner. You had Azor, senior superintendent, and you had Stanton, superintendent. And after COVID, they sent all of them to Civil Defense Commission. But the thing is, during that time, Paul Williams developed himself. He got his doctorate. And right now, I think he's in the Bahamas. He's complete for his legal certificate, where you're going to admit it to the bar very shortly to practice in Guyana. So congratulations, Paul, and all the best to you.
Yeah, congratulations again, my brother and countryman. All the best. All the best. Now let me go on. Let me move on. We haven't spoken in a while, couple of days now, about this war in the Middle East, Israel and Iran. Israel launched a preemptive attack on Iran, and a lot of bombs and blowing up and all sort of things taking place, deaths on both sides. I look at Al Jazeera, right? Because somehow the Western media, I don't think they're balanced enough. So I get the news on both sides, especially in terms of this issue, Al Jazeera. And incidentally, they are banned from reporting out of Israel. So they have correspondents in neighboring states, reporting on what is going on there. And I noted yesterday, the the President of the United States is giving them 2 weeks, giving Iran 2 weeks for come to a decision, and implying that if they don't, maybe the U.S. is going to get involved in the war. Well, let's see where it goes, because as I said before, no war is a good war. And what happens, a lot of innocent people will suffer. And then all of us, because if you get the oil producers and so on, get a type of conflict, chances are oil, and if oil goes up, is almost everything else does go up with oil. So let's see how that will go, and let's pray that good sense prevails and that matter is resolved very soon. Now we got I was to ask you, I asked you all already, why not? I gave the student who work to tell us who is the senior officer who is alleged to have taken $50 million of some Chinese. You want to know who is the person, right? Who is the person? This is an allegation. And then it is alleged that the same person, somebody tell me I shouldn't say Sweetomon, should say, no, I shouldn't say, what I say? I think I said Sweetomon. They say, I would say outside chick. Well, chick got to do with a certain age, So if I believe chick, if you're using the analogy chick, that would be something young. But if it's something old, that would be foul, outside foul. Can't be outside chick. Outside chick got to be a pullet, man. You got to understand. Pullet, something young. But if you get some old foul, you can't be outside chick. Got to be outside foul. Yeah, here the man boss wrongs. See, or something you see with what he had. Tell her your blow is not an easy thing, they want to shoot. You hearing about that? We heard cover up. I heard cover up. And I know CC's a man like investigate. And I hope he investigate for tell me who can investigate this matter. CC, I know you like your investigation. Who will investigate this allegation of this $50 million and the shots that boss?
I hear it's not no outside chick, I hear it's a child mother. And understand they get plenty money out of the 50 million to cover up the thing, But as I said before in the last episode, that I know for sure that Suku will not investigate the matter.
This is a so cool and investigate because it can fall within the remit, so they're not gonna investigate that matter. Let me move on. As I said, today was a news day, and it caused me, because those of the students who had looked at the notification, I said we would have dealt with this sudden interest in the paper shorts murder. We can still talk about it briefly. And we promised to deal with Adriana Young's matter. We got to still talk about that too. But then, this breaking news today, man. The first one here, court frees Shara Duncan and Yubraj Narayan of exciting racial hostility and cybercrime charges. You remember the matter? The charge, the mayor at the time, Yubraj Narayan, and Shara Duncan with exciting racial hostility and cybercrime. This stemmed from an incident outside the Georgetown Hospital when they were trying to remove vendors and so on. And Yubraj, as the mayor, went there, and I think he put himself under some truck and all sort of thing. Let me read the article too long. Let me read what transpired or what is being reported. And this is news source, Gordon Mosley, right? Gordon, you gotta buy a drink because a mistake is made in this thing. We can talk about it later. Opposition member of Parliament Shara Duncan and former mayor of Georgetown, Yubraj Narayan, were this morning freed of charges of exciting racial hostility by Magistrate Leron Daly. The charges were filed against the two opposition members back in 2022 during a protest for vendors outside the Georgetown Hospital. In filing the charges then, the police claimed that the two intentionally transmitted a video in an attempt to incite racial division. They were not required to plead to the indictable charge, but were granted bail in the sum of $100,000 at the time. The opposition had always claimed that the charges were baseless and politically motivated. In dismissing the charges this morning, Magistrate Daly said the prosecution failed to provide evidence that the two accused excited or attempted to excite racial hostility against a section of the population or any particular person. She also found insufficient evidence to establish a cybercrime. The charges stemmed from the then Mayor Yubraj Narain comparing the way the president had handled issues relating to vendors outside Johnson Hospital as against how he addressed issues related to sugar workers and speedboat operators. Narain had also questioned why the president was finding it difficult to work with him and whether that was because of him being an Hindu and the president being a Muslim. The mayor's statement were broadcast on Facebook by Sherrod Duncan, who was streaming the protest live. Magistrate Daly said, based on the evidence provided in the words that were spoken by Mr. Narain, she found that he was making a comparison of the way two groups of people were treated, and there was no hostility. She said she could not find evidence that hostility was excited by the accused. On the cybercrime charge, the magistrate said that the prosecution never provided evidence of a computer system being used to transmit an offense under the cybercrime law, and there was no evidence of any device being examined to determine its use. Duncan and Garden, this is a Garden mistake. He said Duncan and Singh. I should have mean Duncan and Narain were represented by attorney Darren Reid. Big up, Darren Reid, big up. After the charges were filed against Duncan and Singh, the Guided Defense Force moved to dismiss the mayor as a reserve member of the force over the statement that he made. The GDF at the time said its services are no longer needed as a reserve member of the force. It's unclear whether that decision will now be reversed with the charges being dismissed. That is what the thing is all about. But let me refresh you out before I bring in Mr. Conway. Now, following this same incident in the evening of whenever it was, right? They get instructions to arrest Yubraj Narain and to charge them. The officer in charge of crime in Georgetown, I think he named Chabinat Singh, he was a superintendent then, went to the mayor's office and he decided he had to read the caution before charge. You know, the man had to take out a piece of paper and read the caution before charge. We saw it, the tape is there. You know, just give me receipts. Go when they gonna come and say you malign them and you defame them. The man took out a piece of paper and then he read the caution before charge. Something that even the youngest constable in my days had to memorize. A superintendent of police in charge of crime in Georgetown, the largest area in the country by population, had to read it from a piece of paper. And then they end up charging Sherrod, they end up charging, and they charge him indictably. That is how they weaponize this system. And let me say this too before bringing CC. There is no way, as incompetent as they are, as politically aligned as they are, I'm talking about the senior executive of the Ghana Police Force, they are not going to go after Yubraj Narain and Sherrod Duncan in that manner unless they were instructed to do so. Listen to that carefully. They would have been given instructions to do that. And that is not to defend them, but to lay the facts bare. They would have been instructed to arrest Narain and maybe Nosef and them tell them what charge. And then we get a DPP who sits there and allow all these injustices to take place. These people get shame. When this matter go before the court and they are dismissed, wait, y'all don't feel shame? Y'all don't get no shame? You don't get a conscience? Cockroach eat out your conscience? But there's the trauma that put people, the mental anguish, put you and your family through and all of this type of thing. You got to go to court. You got to waste time. You got to retain lawyer. Because even if the lawyers decide they're going to do it pro bono, you have other expenses that are incurred. You have other expensive, but that is what they do. That is what they do, and they call it a democracy. So congratulations to Sherrod. Congratulations to Pandit Yubraj Narain. And you would note the people who are facing these type of charges, whether it's inciting racial hostility or cybercrime, somehow it's always people who are perceived to be the opposition. PPP people don't get them charged, you know, or people who are perceived to support the PPP, Only Wednesday we were telling you that the Guyanese critic cuss out Priya Manichan on social media, the Minister of Education. And she said that if she make a report, the violated cybercrime law, and if she made a report, and let was somebody else. Let is somebody else who is in the opposition or perceived to be anti-government had done something similar. That they up the code step the next day, right? They were going to be up the code step the next day. Let me bring in CC. CC, Sharon, and you know, and the GDF before I think CC, the GDF, as I say in the last paragraph, once he was a reservist in the army. I think he had a rank of staff sergeant. And the Guardian Defense Force, we got a statement somewhere they dismiss him right away. They dismiss him. So for them too, there's nothing like the presumption of innocence. So as soon as you charge, you're guilty, and they dismiss it. And the question is asked, it is unclear whether the decision will be reversed. Pandit Narayan got to be a fool to go back in that toxic environment. Over to you, CC.
Yeah, the thing is about fair comment, with the former mayor and Sherrod. Fair comment. And it had nothing to do with legal, anything legal, It was really political. And like I was alarmed when I saw the detective superintendent pull out a piece of paper and repeating the caution before charge. I know it as a recruit. I know it over 50 years ago, and it's still there. Do you wish to say anything? You are not obliged to say anything unless you wish to do so. But whatever you say, we will take it down in writing and giving evidence. Full stop. Days we can't think. And today is a senior superintendent, and he said the other day that this next move is crime chief. Anytime you move from 4A, it's straight to crime chief, So there's what we got here. But the whole thing was just political. And the same Cybercrime Act, remember the Attorney General in Parliament, when he was in the opposition, he said that when they come into government, he will repeal that act. It's draconian and all kind of word he used to describe it, the Cybercrime Act. And they came into power, and the office they're going to come out of office very shortly, and after 5 years nothing is being done there. That they're weaponizing it, and they weaponize it. Since you talk, so they talk about cybercrime and cybercrime there.
Yeah, since you open your mouth, it's cybercrime. Well, sometimes the man who say he can be the next crime chief, probably correct, Ikin is commissioner. And if Ikin can turn commissioner with all the baggage he has, and even while in the office continues to commit what I call criminal act, that $8.5 million they took from Amir Ahmad. I said that is misconduct in office, and that is criminal act. Jack Dio said it's a reprehensible act, and they still confirm me as commissioner of police. So he can turn crime chief, no doubt, because it seems to me that when you do those type of egregious acts, then you are rewarded. And then when he turned crime chief, it might be a literal thing. It's not a figure of speech. Crime chief, when he said he can turn the crime chief, he must be speaking literally. And who knows? If the man has ambition to be the crime chief, literally, you can tell. No? Who knows? Who knows? But let me move on to the next matter. Y'all share the life. Share the life. As I told y'all, the intention was this yesterday when we scheduled the program to deal with some matters, right? But we had this Sherrod Duncan thing that came up. We have a next one that we're going to talk about with Burke. But before we go into that one, I want to, for the longest while, we have been saying to you that, or we have been saying to them, that the police need to employ the use of less lethal weapons. We've been singing that. The singing became louder after they shot and killed those 2 men at Maikoni. Because I said then that the incident there was a classic one for them to use less lethal weapons. But no, you remember talking about the man who they said was of an unsung mind? We saw the tape, he showing Sanity Police, and then they claim that you attack someone, and what they do, they resort to lethal fire, pistol or revolver, where kill both men, kill the man who they said was of an unsound mind, throwing sand at the police, and a man who was passing and tried to subdue this man. Both of them shot and killed. Both of them shot and killed. And then we advocated, long before that, we were advocating for the use of less lethal weapons. So I noted some time ago, the crime chief is the one who made the statement first that the traffic ranks would be armed with Taser. You know, Taser is this thing that emits this electric shock to subdue persons who are violent and so on. He came with that the traffic ranks will be armed with that. Now, this morning, I was hoping to get, I will show y'all maybe Monday. The man who assists me with some of these technical things, he's a little busy. This morning, I saw a release from the police. Probably even this afternoon, a release from the police. They did some training with Taser. But even before that, I noted that they acquired Tasers. The traffic chief said so. And we saw evidence where they had this moderation over concert they had, and the man was behaving thing, and they tased the man. I think Selwyn Peters, the attorney, wrote something on it. And then recently we see them subduing a man, and they understand they tased the man. A man who they were trying to get. The man was asking them to allow, he had his child in the car, you could avoid the child crying, and we understand they tased the man and subdue him and so on. That is what is understand. We need to understand. Now, today they say the Ghana Police Force, in collaboration with the Ghana Prison Service, the Amethyst School of Martial Arts, and the Security Training Academy, on Thursday launched a 3-day Taser certification course covering, and they get the type of Taser, CEW, TX 200P, and BWC system at the Officers Training Center. The opening ceremony was chaired by Deputy Superintendent London, who introduced Assistant Director of Prison, Mr. Pilgrim, to provide an overview of the training. Mr. Pilgrim emphasized that the program is a conducted energy weapon CEW operators certification course, not just routine training. This, and he quoted it, this certification ensures that officers operate within the established legal framework, he stated. Mr. Pilgrim also highlighted the critical role of this training in election security preparedness for the upcoming general election and regional elections. He reminded officers that Taser should only be used on non-compliant individuals, reinforcing the importance of proper use of force protocols. Deputy Commissioner and Commander 4A, Mr. Mark Bean, expressed his approval of the initiative, noting that this marks the first time a non-lethal approach of this kind is being implemented in the Ghana Police Force. He urged all participating ranks to observe the training thoroughly and assure them that successful completion will result in official certification. Colonel Souvenir, chairman of the Joint Services Training Committee, echoed these sentiments, stressing that adapting to change is essential for law enforcement, reinforcing the need for modern, less lethal policing methods. The training underscores the Ghana Police Force's commitment to professional development, operational readiness, and the reasonable use of force in maintaining public safety. That's what I said in the release. Well, a lot of questions spring out here right away, And before I bring in CC, they're talking about, according to Mr. Pilgrim, this thing is for certification, not just routine training. And then he said this certification ensures that officers operate within the established legal framework. Now, the first thing I want to know, what is the framework? Because I have said before, and I repeat again for emphasis, that before any such thing is done, while we advocate, we're not against the use of less lethal weapons. Let me understand this clearly. We advocated for it. And we have to congratulate ourselves because it's we kept the pressure on and caused them to bring in this Taser. We, speaking now, Mr. Conway and I, we've been bombarding them. So not only for protection of the policemen were sent there armless in many cases. And when you do arm them, you arm them with lethal weapon. So when they were confronted with the situation, what they got to do? They got to shoot. Many times the shooting ended up with killing people. I remember a matter at Grove, I think on the East Bank. Some domestic violence, police turn up a gun, the man they shot and kill the man. So yeah, less than lethal weapon is something good. No doubt about that. But before you get to this point, I hope they do that. They haven't said it here. You have to have a proper SOP as to how it should be used. And we're not talking about all the physical thing, just squeezing the trigger, when it will be justified to use. I mean, they allude to it here when they say it should be used against violent or something like that. People, yeah. But you have to have a standard operation procedure clearly spelled out, clearly circulated, and you got to teach them about that SOP too. Not only the use of this thing, not only the use of the Taser, and then you talk about, they say, the certification. Certification. So are you saying, gentlemen, that only those who are certified can use the Taser? That is what you are implying. That is what you're suggesting. That is what you're directing. That is what you're ordering. Only the people who are certified to use this less lethal weapon, who complete this course and get this certification, only those policemen and prison officers, whoever, can use this thing. I mean, they come with these statements, and I made it clear. I've said it over and over again. I like when they write, because I can analyze. I can analyze. Because when you're saying that this we're going through this course, and you talk about certification, so in other words, if they successfully complete, I don't know how they're going to measure the success. I don't know if they got a written exam, practical exam. That is not stated. But you're saying that they're going to get certification. They have to be certified, right? They said it Taser certification. Taser certification, official training center, right? And then he says that this is not just routine training. Mr. Pilgrim emphasized that the program is a conducted energy weapon, CEW operator certification course, not just routine training. Then he's quoted there saying this certification ensures that officers operate within established legal framework or frameworks. Now, what are the legal frameworks? You don't got to tell them that, you got to teach them that too. So you see, it's all kind of craziness they come with. And you know, the kicker, I was hoping to get it to show you folks, but it then social media, and I'm going to try to get it to show this on this program when next we meet, most likely on Monday. You know, part of the training, I saw this thing, I was amazed. I was shocked. I was horrified. 2 policemen, side by side, holding on to an ex-policeman. There's a mattress in front, and they're only there. I know it's part of the training. Somebody at the back literally tears the policeman, yalla, and fall down. I couldn't believe it. That is part of the training. They held this rank. I don't know how, whether he volunteered, I don't know what the process, but he was tased. I heard the man scream out when he get the electric shock and he fall on his face and this mattress. That is part of the training. Cruelty. Again, I say, I don't know if a policeman, this rank volunteer, but even so, when we talk about occupation, health, and safety, how can you do that? And they talk about this people being professionals. How can they do that? You tase a policeman to demonstrate what? And you know, I know, CC, back in the day when I was an instructor, dealing public order and so on, we had the TSU miniature range, and we used to allow for ranks to pass through little tail smoke so that you understand what the effect of tail smoke is. We used to put them there. And we used to pass them through the taste. So you got to the range. When I took recruits to the range at Timeri, that was part of the exercise. You load the smoke, they walk through, you tell them exactly what they should do to make, I think attack it, but they tell them what to do to minimize the effects of the chemical, taste smoke chemical. I used to teach that, CS and CN, right? I never learned to spell the CN because the CN, the correct spelling, well, not the correct spelling, the pronunciation of the chemical, autochlorobenzyl mononitrate, something like that. Tiras used to spell it. I never learned to spell it because I don't think that was necessary. It's a long 20-something letters. Autochlorobenzyl mononitrate. So that's the CS gas you're talking about. But to see this policeman there being held by two and they shoot the Taser in the back, he fall down and he ball. I said, my Lord, these people really, really gone out of hand, man. See, as a trainer, I'm sure you would want to say something about that. Was that appropriate? First of all, the SOP, they have not told us anything about any SOP. The officer there speaks about operating within the established legal framework. What are those, my brother?
All right. I have, just like you, I get many issues and concerns that might take up this whole episode, but I try to cut it short. First, let me put the thing in proper context. On the 7th of June 2021, and let me get his name correctly, Honorable Brinley Horatio Robson Ben, Member of Parliament, Minister of Home Affairs, piloted Bill number 8 of 2021. It's called the Police Amendment Bill 2021. According to the explanatory memorandum, here's the purpose of this amendment is to expressly provide the type of less lethal weapons that may be issued to the Ghana Police Force for use in the discharge of their functions under this act. The use of these arms facilitates less lethal confrontation measures by law enforcement in an effort to reduce fatalities. And here's what they call less lethal weapons. Less lethal weapons in Section 2B includes nightsticks, buttons, and clubs, chemical irritants, including a pepper spray or tear gas, conducted electrical weapons, including taser or stun gun, kinetic impact projectiles, including rubber-coated bullets, or, here is one, a water cannon. So this is the bill that he had piloted, and I think it was passed in Parliament. But taser, although it is less than lethal, at times it has become lethal. My little research showed me that in 2018, in the United States of America, 49 persons died after they were tased. From 2013 to now, 18 persons in the United Kingdom died from being tased. They said tase has a 40% failure rate. There are some disadvantage because you have secondary injuries. You could get minor skin irritants. You could get blisters. You could get burns. You could get laceration. And it could fall on hard surface and hit yourself. And also it has an expiry date of 5 years. And it has a 40% failure rate. But the thing is that one man has been pushing this thing. This is a policy, a policy for the police force. And instead of they extended or the confirmed squatter talk about it, or even the man in charge of operations, deputy commissioner Watts, who is a bridesmaid of Jerry Govio, instead of you running about and holding Jerry Govio fractal, he should have been there talking with. But you have a man who is a 44-year-old assistant commissioner who is dangerously ambitious and who I heard from time to time say, referring to himself as a Lucifer. He is a person who is propagating this thing. He's the person who is propagating this thing. And what they're doing, they're picking the fruits instead of looking at the root cause with confrontation between the police and members of the public. They're picking the fruits instead of looking at the real cause or the main cause of what is going on. All this all this confrontation that is going on there. If you pick the fruit, other fruits will come up. If you cut the main root, the tree will die. And they're not looking at that. And what they gotta do, they're not looking at behavior. Something is wrong when the police and members of the public are engaged in ever ending confrontation. That they gotta start use taser now the thing do. That they don't train them to use self-defense. They don't train them on armed combat. They don't train the police to do the conflict resolution. They don't train the police to do anger management. They don't train the police to do the effective investigation. They don't train the police to do effectively dealing with people. They don't train the police to do self-esteem. They don't train the police to do effective communication. And I don't know the kind of training they did with the taser. I need more details. But I hope that it wasn't just chalk and talk. I hope it wasn't whiteboard and marker. I hope they had question and answers sessions. I hope they had discussions. I hope they had video conferencing. Did they have hands-on learning? Did they have role play? Did they have case study? Did they have simulation? Did they have a combination? And as Paul, you asked, how did they assess the trainees? How did they assess and what form of assessment they had? And then when you're training, you've got to do training evaluation to see whether or not you have achieved your objective. And there's a training evaluation called Patrick model of evaluation that we used to use. And it talks about reaction, it talks about learning, it talks about behavior, and it talks about results. And if they use that, they might be able to see whether or not they are achieving their objective. But I look at the little that we see there, Paul. Here's it. They're using the police constable as guinea pigs. Only two men hold on to and they shoot in the back. I mean, they're a bed and he falling, we ball and he falling for the bed. And there's it. And then what about the SOP? What is the SOP? Do they have a well documented, a written SOP? And not just a SOP that lock away in an office or lock away in a drawer. SOP that you train that all are involved, that all know about it. The constable know about it. The subordinate officers know about it. The inspector know about it. The junior officers know about it. The senior officers know about it. That all are involved, all know about it. Yeah? What really are they doing? Yeah? And I'm saying that although they said less than lethal, it is legal. If one person die, having been tased is one too many. One too many. And I'm going to repeat this in stats where they're saying the amount of persons who died, quite a number of persons died. 2018 in the United States of America, 49 persons died as a result of being tased. In 2013 in UK, 35 persons died. It has a 40% failure rate. And we're using it. And I don't know what kind of training we're doing. I see them mention some group there that doing the training. I think is a United States group, but I think it has a branch in Trinidad and Tobago. So I know it's people from Trinidad and Tobago came across here. Or how long did it last? We need to be serious because we're playing with the lives of people. We're playing with people who have injuries. And then they're showing that you shoot the man in the back. So you're telling the police who are going to test people that they must tase them from the back. And when they back turn against you, it means that they weren't attacking you. A lot of things maybe has gone wrong there. but we need to keep it on the board now. And then, Paul, as I said Monday, we'll go more into details about this taser that they use, what they call less than lethal. Yes, it could be less than lethal, but it has deadly consequences, and that's what we must try to avoid.
My oh, I was muted, so sorry. I was talking to myself. I am saying that yes, some people are commenting to say that in some departments and even the military in the US, that is part of the training where they would test the ranks. Yeah, but I'm saying too that I am sure that those departments have proper standard operational procedure as to when the taser should be deployed. And having deployed the taser, what type of accountability there is. I am sure. I am willing to take a bet that they have that. And they have accountability. So if you use the taser, you have to come to some supervisor or someone and to justify why it was used. And somebody commented here, very, very telling comment, that if you're going to use a taser on policemen in particular during the training, then you have to take their health status into consideration. Let's understand this. Because you're going to tase some police officer there. Next thing you know, he had some bad heart or something, he's not well. It's a dead man you're going to talk about. So I'm saying yes, but I'm sure that when they do that, I don't know if they do to everyone. They say they do the training in the States. I don't know if they test every single police officer or military person who go through training. I doubt whether. But I'm sure the person or persons who are selected, they must have some EMT and those people standing by in case the person has some adverse reaction to what is being done. So that we understand this thing clearly, so don't jump and say, well, let us do it so in the States. But I'm sure that given what goes on elsewhere, they will make sure that certain proper procedures are there. Other than that, it's a big lawsuit. You know, the people are very litigious in the United States. You tase somebody, they fall down, tase a policeman during training, you fall down and you knock yourself and so on. You sue the family and sue you. So they will safeguard against that by making sure, one, that they have a proper standard operational procedure, that the people are taught when and how to use a taser, and there is accountability. And if they are going to test ranks during the course of the training, they are going to make sure that they have emergency responders there, just in case that person gets an adverse reaction from the taser. So we understand that. So it's good to say it is being done, but what we saw there in that tape, I'm sorry I don't have it to show you. I'm going to promise to show you it sometime soon, right? I am sure from what we saw there, some policemen and people in other uniforms sit down around there. I don't know if they had any EMT, emergency medical technicians there, some ambulance standing by in case somebody get an adverse reaction. Next thing you know, you tase somebody there, and the next thing you know, the man ain't get a good heart. It's trouble in the dance, as they would say. So yeah, it is good to say these things, but we delve into it deeper than that. And I maintain that they have to have a proper standard operational procedure. How it is uplifted, how it is used. And the operation procedure we're talking about is not just how to squeeze and deploy it. When and under what circumstances, the officer did allude to that. Mr. Pilgrim alluded to that as to when the thing can be used, right? He made the point, and that is an important aspect. Importance aspect. You have to have those things in place. And I am guessing I have never witnessed it, but I know how the system works. You're not gonna deploy a taser on one of your own in a training environment without making sure that certain things are in place, right? So they can challenge me on that. Right? You can challenge me on that. Somebody, okay, a man telling me, a man who know the system, telling me that the CEW, that is a taser, is scanned out to the rank with the regulation number. If used, it is recorded in a computer system. That is what a member of the NYPD is saying here. Hear what he says. I'm not going to put it up to expose him. I haven't gotten that permission. But he's saying the CEW, that is the taser, is scanned out to the rank with the regulation number. If used, it is recorded in the computer system, so you know when it is used and so on. They get that there? They have that in there, huh? So you jump on. Yeah, again, let me understand this thing clearly. We advocated for the use of less than lethal weapon or less lethal weapon. Not only taser, we said pepper spray. We say you got to go back to the old time Baton story and all of that. We say you got to teach the ranks self-defense, because many of these things, we're talking about a use of force continuum. And where is the taser in this use of force continuum? We know lethal fire, gun, and whatever is at the top of the continuum. But where along the continuum is taser to be? Should it be that you use baton first? Should it be that you use your hands? Should it be that you have pepper spray? Comrade, you're coming up the alley there, yeah? You're walking into my alley, and I know what I'm talking about. I did training for most of my career, especially at a younger age in the career. I know these things. SOP, I'm going to emphasize that. Standard operation procedure. Same thing like with body cameras. You have to have a standard operation procedure so the ranks know. And not just get it on paper. In the Guyana Police Force, it has to be published in force orders. It has to be made a standing order by the Commissioner of Police. Ranks have to be trained and retrained in it. And we have seen that that type of training does not take place. Weapon training, for example, people shooting without justification, killing people, when firing guns when there is absolutely no need, according to the relevant standing order. And I say this, if it is that you feel that the standing order is inadequate, then revise it. Revise it and let the people train and understand. Again, it bothers me because they talk about certification, and I believe unless they explain further, they are implying, that is my interpretation, they're implying that only those who are certified can use the taser. And I make the point. They get these things, the people not properly trained, you run into problem. Look at the last killing we had on the East Coast there. Look at the last killing. They talk about 5,000 body cameras recently. President and then jump up. Oh, the police have been issued with 5,000 body cameras and blah, blah, blah. Yet still, when they had the incident, it would appear as not a single body camera was in use. Not a single body camera. Not a single body camera was in use. So you could talk and talk all if you want to talk, but it doesn't make much sense. Now let me move on to time catching up with me. I don't see you want to say anything more on this?
Quickly, we talking about SOP, and they don't know to write SOP, And let me give them some idea. Quickly, I won't go into details. But doing a SOP, these are where you got to consider. The contents, the introduction, standard operational steps, define objective, document step-by-step instructions, include visual aids if possible, consider safety and quality measures, review and validate, implement and train, document control summary. And they talk about 4 P's, the 4 P principle where you're going to do SOP. Purpose, explain why SOP is necessary. Procedure, deal with the how and the task and how the task is performed. People, identify who is involved and responsibility and protection. You got to deal with safety and compliance with the rules, the regulations, the restrictions, and above all, KISS. Keep it short, and simple. And if they want to know how to do SOPs, contact me. I'm going to give them some ideas. Contact me, I'm going to give some ideas in writing.
What are you looking for next conspiracy? You don't look conspiracy defraud charge like you like this charge thing. That was a contact. You okay? Let me respond to one of the students here who said that you get them button, they're gonna last people and kill them and all this. Let me tell you, we used to be armed with button in my days, and you used to be trained as to where you should strike. You used to be trained, properly trained over glass. When people train you to use the button, how to hold the button, where to strike with the button. Again, we talk is about training, not just giving people this thing, training. Very, very important training. Now, let me go on to one of the major matters this afternoon. I said, come and catch up with us. Oh, man. I court strike down criminal defamatory libel as violation of constitutional right to freedom of expression. That's today. Let me tell you, we have to bring this one today. The High Court, the Chief Justice, struck down the criminal defamatory libel as a violation of constitutional rights to freedom of expression. Now we're talking about it all the time. We say all along, we tell you all. Article 146 of the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana provides for people to have free speech. In the U.S., it talk about the Fourth Amendment in the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution. But yet still, in Guyana, in the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, you talk about somebody is a cybercrime charge. You do something is defamation, criminal charges against you. So this matter came up today. And let me read. Y'all bear with me. We can read, we can dissect. Guyana Court, they say Guyana Court cannot serve criminal summonses overseas. Guyana Court cannot serve criminal summons overseas. That is a byline. In a landmark decision, Guyana's Chief Justice Roxanne George, she's acting, Roxanne George Wiltshire, on Friday declared that the criminal defamatory libel is unconstitutional as it violates the enshrined right of freedom of expression. In quashing the case of criminal defamatory libel against New York-based Guyanese political activist and president of the Caribbean Guyana Institute of Democracy, Rickford Burke, the Chief Justice said that Section 115 of the Criminal Law Offences Act, including conspiracy to commit such an offense, is, quote, unconstitutional as being in violation of Article 146, which guarantees freedom of expression, end of quote. Quote again, it is declared that the resort to criminal defamatory libel to protect individual reputation is unnecessary, disproportionately excessive, and not justified, and are required to protect reputations, rights, and freedoms of other persons, and are unconstitutional as being in violation of Article 146, which is the freedom of expression provision of the Constitution, end of quote. Mr. Burke was represented by Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford. Big up, Roysdale. Big up, my longtime neighbor. Big up. The Chief Justice said she was bound to consider Human Rights Convention and learning in accordance with Article 39, much of which of criticized criminal defamation. She also noted, listen to this carefully, she also noted that several regional territories, including Grenada, Jamaica, Antigua and Barbuda, and Trinidad and Tobago, have abolished criminal defamatory libel after lobbying, especially by journalists. The Guyana Press Association, in collaboration with the Inter-American Press Institute, had more than 10 years ago lobbied for the repeal of the criminal defamation from the country's law book. In handing down our decision, the Chief Justice questioned how Mr. Burke, who has been living in the United States for the past 27 years, could have committed the offense in Lusignan, East Coast, Demerara. She said it was evident that the prosecution did not tell the magistrate, Fabio Azur, that Mr. Burke was not in Guyana and could not have been at Lusignan as stated in the charge. Quote, if this was disclosed to the magistrate, then she most likely would have declined to have issued the summonses under or and, end of quote, Mrs. George Wiltshire said. According to Assistant Superintendent of Police Sarabo, who, who was tasked with locating Mr. Burke, he went to Lot 1 Fellowship, West Coast, Demerara, the last known address of the accused, but did not locate him. The court was informed that on December the 13th, the police officer traveled to the United States with the originals of the summonses and met with a U.S. process server the following day. On December the 16th, 2023, they went to an address in Brooklyn, New York, where they met Mr. Burke, who refused to accept the documents. And the process server left them on the accused's doorstep while informing him that he would be served. The Chief Justice said, Mr. Burke, residing in the United States for the past 27 years, has not been refuted by the state by such means as immigration records. In quashing the Guyana Police Force's effort to serve Mr. Burke with a summons in the U.S., the judge pointed out that summonses shall, quote, have full force and effect and may be served anywhere in Guyana, end of quote. Therefore, she quote again, therefore, the summonses only had efficacy within the geographical boundaries of Guyana. Service of a summons outside of the jurisdiction of Guyana means that such service would be unlawful and therefore invalid. End of quote. The Chief Justice said the magistrate admitted to Mr. Burke's contention that the summons is only effective within the jurisdiction of Guyana. The judge said it does appear that what was done was more akin to service of a civil proceedings, and even then, whether such a service is acceptable depends on the rules of the court. The charge of criminal defamatory libel dated back to 2021, when, according to Burke in court papers, in response to dozens of complaints by consumers, CJIT and the applicant via U.S. social media platforms exposed allegedly predatory financial practices and fraud by a car dealership in Guyana. Consequently, he said, the Guyana Police Force falsely announced that the applicant allegedly conspired with persons he do not know, never met or saw, and never spoke with to engage in defamatory libel in order to commit extortion in breach of Guyana's crime and extortion laws, and unjustly. He said in his court papers that the alleged extortion claim by the Guyana Police Force is the applicant's advocacy for the management of the car dealership to repay monies to the company allegedly defraud customers and vendors. A long read. But in essence, what it is saying, and let me clap myself, man, me and Mr. Conway. CC, congratulations. We argued on this program, or we proposed, and we advocated on this program that the act what they talk about, what they did, to say for us to apply for summons to Burke somewhere on the East Coast, right? And then they come to the United States and serve this summons and Burke. And the Attorney General, Anil Nandalal, SC, MP, went on social media and other platforms, he along with other lawyers, and tried to justify that, saying that it was all well and legal for police officer in Guyana to get a summons from a magistrate in Guyana and travel to US and by extension any place else and serve that. And Jack D.O. said on one of his programs, I call his name because I get the facts, right? You tell people that's what they must do. When you talk about them, get the thing, we're going to send people and record it. And that is what he said on one of his programs. Now, the Chief Justice has vindicated our argument. And we tell you, we are no liars. We are not liars, but we are well-trained and experienced police officers. Training includes training by the FBI. And from the beginning when you see this thing, the thing was unlawful and constitutionally illegal, right? There was no question about that. And you know, the same Nandlal, who argued that this act by the Guyana police force to send a man to the US to serve work with summons was lawful and constitutional. The same man last year, I think it was, with the opening of the Marble Rumor Magistrate Court, he said, as reported by NCN, right, that the powers of the court in Guyana, use the word, the powers are territorial, meaning only within Guyana. The same man who argued otherwise not so long ago. And you know what happened? NCN put up the thing, and in labor time, they pull them down. They pull it down because we were saying that all along. Now, let me tell you, you don't got to be a legal mind. I know they talk about in the Adriatic thing, they say the body would have lost forensic value. I am saying many of them people who talk in there, whatever little training they had in the legal area, it has lost value. Because some of the shit that has come and talk and try to fool people. How can you argue that a policeman in Guyana can obtain, first of all, this man who they're charging has not been to Guyana for 27 years. How could he have committed a crime in Guyana? How could he have committed a crime in Guyana? Because that's what the thing say, you know, that he committed this crime somewhere on the East Coast. That is what they said. They committed this crime. So they sent a man. And let me say this. In all fairness to the officer, right? My belief, a lot of people agree with me, that the officer is a good officer. Perhaps he was too good. Because he ought to have known that he can't be sent to the United States to say he's serving summons. And nobody, remember telling you all, you know, police officers, I'm telling you daily, nobody can compel you to carry out an unlawful order. And you then, he was an assistant superintendent then, he ought to have known that that thing ain't get no legal grounds to stand on. And you know, some of them in my days, we used to say you jam. You visit Wharton or somebody, like they don't know how to jam when these chuppies come down. So, you know, again, he could not have booked a flight on his own for travel to the US. He could not have booked hotels and all of this thing on his own. It had to be the confirmed squatter and them who instigated this thing and set up the poor officer. That is my belief. They set it up. And I made the point before, and I'm saying it again, now that this decision has been handed down, what type of authority he had to come to the United States and to say, so to work, to come and work, basically, law enforcement work, they claim that he did. So it looked like they're going to throw this guy under the bus. You travel from Guyana for the sole purpose of serving a summon on a U.S. citizen? You're crazy? You're crazy or what? Let me bring in Mr. Conway. I'm talking too much of this button. Let me bring in CC to hear what he has to say. And I come back because I got to talk more about this thing. CC, let me hear your take on this matter, man.
Well, we said on several occasions that the act was unlawful. I don't have to be a lawyer for that, you know. It's simple, common sense. But then again, common sense isn't commonplace, isn't common in a lot of persons, including some attorney generals. The thing is clear and Sarbu. Maybe he didn't know for jam. He didn't know for jam. But I understand it's squad to call him. The confront squad and give him the ticket and say, by God there and thing there. We don't make all the necessary arrangements in place. And he went, he's bye-bye for he. I don't think he can go back to America. They done with it. And we gotta follow the law, you know. The law is clear. And as the Attorney General himself said, it is territorial. Yes, you can do certain things in certain country, but you got reciprocal arrangements. They gotta be reciprocal arrangements. Things like extradition and them kind of thing there, but you can't just go wild and decide what you want, what you want to do. Here's it. You send a policeman to the States and he can't solve it himself. He can get some sort of and then the thing that's talk about personal service. And if you're going to leave it to people, you got to leave it somebody of discriminate age, having read and explained the nature of the document and requested an order delivery. There's the evidence we used to give, or you give personal service. You know, the whole thing was unconstitutional, and I agree with the Chief Justice. It was wrong, all wrong, unconstitutional. You sending a policeman from A to go to the states to serve summons, huh? And then he get it back in from the commissioner. He get it back in from the attorney general. You know, sorry, boo. Sorry for you, boy, but I think that was your last trip to the states because you did an illegal act. And Paul, not like you. Remember when God judge tell you for give back the money gun, you refuse. You refuse, although it caused your promotion. It cost me a promotion. It cost Assistant Commissioner Whitaker promotion because he said he ain't making no deputy commissioner. So no, we ain't get. No, we ain't get. And we are one, two, three, and they have vacancy for 4 deputy commissioner. So a whole lot of irregular things will think. But there's time you have to stand up. But sure, you benefit afterwards. I benefit afterwards. Although I didn't get deputy commissioner, I'm alive. I'm well. I'm living a reasonable life. You living a good life too. Do you think my partner is living a good life? That there are times you have to stand up to certain things and no, this is illegal and you can. And then the Nuremberg Tribunal they say that you're not bound to obey any order when as long as it's illegal. Even a general give an order to a private soldier and it's illegal, the private is not bound to obey that order.
Well, let me correct you. I don't like to do it often. But you say I refuse. I didn't refuse. My lawyer said to say decline. You got on. See, remember, see.
Yeah. Remember,
Peter Britton, the late great Peter Britton, when I wrote my statement,
too
he
strong a
told me,
language.
whenever you have the word refuse, change it to decline. People say semantics, but it's a language. I decline
Yeah.
to return the firearm. Now, let me say this. One of the students saying they're trying to blame the court that issued the summonses. Now, it is clear, I got a copy or copies of the summonses someplace. They misled the court. They told the court that Burke lived somewhere at Friendship on the east coast of Demerara. And obviously, it would appear, and it came out in court today, that the magistrate didn't check this thing thoroughly. The magistrate might have just signed. And let me be fair, is a summons being applied for? I don't know that any magistrate or them on read the thing in detail. Perhaps they should, but many of these things are left to the clerk. The clerk passes it to you for sign. I just sign. Maybe they get a lot of them type of thing. The magistrate signed. So the magistrate had to admit. The magistrate admitted, right, that had she known that this man was abroad, she would not have signed this thing. And therefore, it brings me to the other question. Now, before I go to let me tackle this one. Bring me to the other question. What about the consequences for those who misled the court? Because the policeman or policemen or women, whatever it is, who would have applied for this summons and who would have stated that Burke lived on the East Coast, thereby forcing or causing the magistrate to issue the summons, well, they're not going to be made to answer for the consequences of the action. Are they not going to be made to answer for why they misled a court? Come and call folks, y'all share this live. We are done yet. Share the live. And it brings us to the next point. Remember, we told you that the United States, I'll read it. The U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio unveiled visa restrictions to protect Americans from foreign censorship. And what he said, it is unacceptable for foreign officials to issue or threaten arrest warrants on U.S. citizens or U.S. residents for social media posts on American platforms while physically present in the United States. Conrad, do you see a link? Do you not see a link with the statement made by the United States Secretary of State only recently? Hear what he says. Let me read it back. He says, the letter said, United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio, that is the same man who identified the concussion road, unveils visa restrictions to protect Americans from foreign censorship. And he is quoted there as saying it is unacceptable for foreign officials to issue or threaten arrest warrants on U.S. citizens or U.S. residents for social media posts on American platforms while physically present on U.S. soil. I see a link between that statement and what transpired in court today. I see a link. Maybe I ain't seeing good, but I see a link between that statement because we all know Bork, 27 years, Bork got to Guyana. Bork in US and social media platform, calling out corruption as we do too on this program. And for them, you're violating the law. And when he talk about never said to threaten arrest warrant, that's what they did. Well, not arrest, but summons is for him to go to court. There's someone he forgot to court in Guyana. Comrade, they're shit in buckets. Well, not buckets, bucket too small, full. The amount of shit they got to shit. Black tanks, they gonna shit. I talk about consequences because I would expect, no, not expect. That is a kind of too far. In a normal society where things are working properly, one could expect that there would be repercussions because it is clear that the court has now ruled that the Constitution was violated, that the police violated the laws of Guyana. She struck down the old law. And you know, as I said, the other countries have struck down this law, but not Guyana. They said that the media people from Guyana lobby for the law to be repealed. No, similar to the lobby for the cybercrime law. No, weaponize instead, not repeal, weaponize. But let me look for see, or let me listen out to see what's gonna happen. Because with this matter too, let me pull up the note that I made. With this matter, I would expect, in keeping with what they would normally do, they're going to be appealing the decision all the way, wasting our money. They're going to waste taxpayers' money, or they are likely to waste taxpayers' money and appeal this all the way to the CCJ. But they got no court in this world will rule what they did to be constitutional and lawful. We have said over and over, Article 146 guarantees free speech. Yeah, free speech without a limit. And if it is that you libel somebody or you slander them, then they must take it to court. Don't criminalize the thing. Don't criminalize it. But that is what they're doing. Criminalizing it. And again, I want to how they feel. The people who approved this whole process for summons to be applied for, summons to be served in the US. That man had to be, they have to get ticket. They have to book a flight. They have to make arrangement because he ain't no process server in the US. Let me get this straight. He ain't no process server in the US. So they have to arrange that. He had to have some place to stay and all of that. So this man was a pawn in the whole thing. He was a pawn in the whole thing. And I've said, you got to learn the art of policing skullduggery. Because let me tell you, there's no way I did go in once I see the thing. I they get diarrhea. I they get blackout. All sort of thing I they get in them. You ain't going besides serving no salmon in the US. You have to think about the consequences for those who misled the magistrate. In other words, it's a falsification because Burke never lived at that address, according to the information we get. Never lived at the address they put on the summons. So what you're doing, they're falsifying the thing. And because of that, the magistrate took a certain course of action. Yeah, we can blame the magistrate too because the magistrate should have been a little more diligent. But clerk of court, the clerk would normally deal with those things. Clerk would normally, the man travel all the way to the States. And nonetheless, argued, you know. Man jump on the social media platform and throw how it's illegal. He quoting us out of non-existent law. For tell you that a policeman in Guyana has the authority and the jurisdiction to fly to the United States and to serve a summon on somebody there who's alleged to have committed an offense in Guyana, even though he is in the US. And then Jack Dio pick up the same thing and encourage others to do likewise. When they talk about you on the thing, I want you to think that sue them or apply for someone, get them, take out photograph. He said so. He said so. So let me see where this is going to end, because I said the consequences we're looking out to. This is just a start. And somebody saying that Bork should sue them. If I were a betting man, I would bet that Rick Ford them taking this up. Right? He's not taking it so. Because the bottom line of this story is that according to what they said at the end, Bork was calling out. The man got tape and all and everything. I've listened to it, where he is alleging that people complained to him about the predatory behavior of a particular car dealership on the East Coast. Right? Predatory lending behavior. The people contact Bork. Bork then got onto them and was telling the people them, look, trying to mediate and try to think. All of a sudden, that became extortion. And the Kavakamites just run on it on social media, or Bork trying to extort people and all sort of thing. People telling me no song. I suspect you have a look at your system, you know. Gabo telling me no song, and other people say no song. Couple of people telling me no song. Leon alone telling me no song. Leon, check your system, my brother. Check your system. Some people telling me loud and clear. Leon, check your system. Right, thanks, Chilo and others. Yeah, because Leon is saying no song, so something is wrong with his system. Now, again, I say, the man tried to resolve this thing. Right? Now they got a man who is sort of being a junkie or something, and the tapes are there. They try to put word in the man. When the man got the tape, the man say never talk to Bork. I had no Bork. I never had no conversation on that. And yet still they're claiming that Bork conspired with this man to extort money from this car dealership. You think they're ordinary? You think they're ordinary wicked? They're not ordinary wicked. And that is why you got to make sure you see the back. And not seeing the back like they did with the policeman with the taste. These people are too wicked. And you know, with a court order like this now, let me ever gonna say, hey, they're gonna try to spin them. They are going to try to spin it. They're gonna bring more Litteran, but they're gonna end up like Bashir. And Sean and everybody know what we're talking about. Bashir is the England spinner who today ball he art out and can't get nothing off the wicket. Bashir, Rishabh Pant lashing you over your head and all sort of thing. Lashing it. So that's the type of spinner they get. They got no world-class spinner. They got a world-class spinner. According to was Stanley Moore, they're bowling some low trajectories. Lumpy-pumpy bowling, man. Lumpy-pumpy bowling they're coming with. But they're going to try because they're getting paid to try. So they are going to try. Right? And yeah, like a lot of fools believe them. When you listen to the tape and it's all going on, you follow anything, you know that they lie. But Bork was a thorn in the side, exposing the corruption. So too was Melly Mel. And once you do that, you become the public enemy. They don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear facts. But facts are stubborn things. This is not a matter. We got to go with pressing for time. I want to talk about two other matters briefly. We're going to come back to this issue. We're going to come back to this issue. Right? Let me ask Mr. Conway if he wants anything more. The CC wants anything more like this? Time rushing me, man.
I know the time rush. And just, what the plans they had, all gone to naught because they were waiting for them to come back and then maybe arrest them at Timeri, put the banglan on them and this kind of thing, and additional charges, So things happen and it backfire on them. But we're saying the whole thing, as the Chief Justice said, it was unconstitutional, null and void, and no legal effect.
But the good thing to know about that, yeah, I don't know, as I said, we're going to talk about it. It's not only in this matter, but the Chief Justice is the only rule with this matter. The Chief Justice said the whole law, the whole section that deals with defamatory, what they call it there, libel. She says sections 115 of the Criminal Offences Act, including conspiracy to commit such an offense, is unconstitutional as being in violation of Article 146, which guarantees freedom of expression. So it's not just that she addressed this case alone. It's a deeper issue. The whole law is unconstitutional. They're going to go to the CCJ. Now, you remember we tell you repeatedly, students, that the Constitution is the supreme law in Guyana, and I would think any other country that has a constitution, is the supreme law. And any law that comes into tension with that has to be struck down. We had the one with the Criminal Law Procedure Act, where the CCJ ruled that a section there which allowed the DPP to open cases when the magistrate said no evidence and so on. The DPP, the CCJ struck it down and said that if you want to have the case open, going for a judge, you can't sit there as a DPP and instruct a magistrate to reopen a case like that. So we're going to see where this one goes now. We're going to see where this one goes. Yeah, Vibe, they ain't got no shame. They ain't got no conscience. And I would have thought with things like these, in any, well, let me say this. In a proper operating country, this would not have happened in the first place. Would not have happened because people would have known that you can't do that. And they would have followed the law. But in Guyana, they don't do that. In other countries, people would have got to fall on the sword. They would have had to fall on their swords for that type of violation. When this rule, by Monday morning, people they resign. But no, not in Guyana. Not in Guyana, which is not a real place. In a real place, people would have resigned. Fall on the sword, resign. But not in Guyana. Now, let me fast forward to this. We have Adriana Young is said she'll be buried on Sunday. That's what we understand. The latest with that, well, apart from that, we ain't get time to go into the to and fro between the lawyer and the police. We're gonna deal with that too, right? Because we tell this matter ain't going away, Even when she is buried on Sunday, we are gonna keep it and analyze certain aspects. Because today it is reported that yesterday Jagdeo said he wanted a thorough, something like that, investigation into the Ricardo Fagundes murder, right? I had it somewhere here he said you're gonna get proper they want a proper investigation into it. We're gonna deal with it on Monday, right? We're gonna deal with it on Monday. But here it is. This is today's paper. Ricardo Fagundes murder. I hope here what Jagdeo is reported to have said yesterday. I hope we find out the truth. I hope we find out the truth. Yes, we should find out the truth. We should also find out the truth about Adriana Young's murder. We should also find out the truth about Ronald Waddell's murder. We should also find out the truth of the Cromwell murder. We should also find out the truth about Satsa, your own minister murder, and many other of those cases. Some of you are thinking Fagundes, yes, we need to know the truth. Yes, we need to know the truth. But why you're selecting this one alone? And here what I say, Here, let me read this part because we're going to come to it again on Monday. People's Progressive Party Civic General Secretary and Guyana's Vice President, Dr. Bar Jagdeo, it shouldn't be Dr. Bar Jagdeo because it's an honorary thing. It's not like Paul Williams and them men where they study and get a doctorate. Somebody said, you've been around long, put doctor. And the people say the protocol is that you don't use it in front of your name, but they're doing it. It's hoping that the truth will come to light regarding the brutal murder of Ricardo Fagundes, also known as Paper Sharks. During a press conference at Freedom House on Thursday, that's yesterday, he said, quote, I hope we find out the truth. The president, and then he said, end the quote, the president spoke of this some time ago. Look, let me continue. He quoting it too. Let me read about quote. I hope we find out the truth. The president spoke of this some time ago, and he said that I think some new information have come to light, and I expect that they will do a professional job and explore this thoroughly, and the appropriate time finalize the investigation, end of quote. In April, President Ali had said that shocking development in the murder investigation of Ugandans will soon lead to further questioning by the police. President Ali disclosed that the investigation was being conducted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Let me read the back. This is today's paper. I think it's the Chronicle. It says President Ali disclosed that the investigation was being conducted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. The other one, I will tell you for goodness, was riddled with bullets by two men outside Palm Court around 22 hours on March 24th. I'm whetting your appetite before we come again. Because this whole issue with Fugundes, we don't have time to go into any great detail, but he was shot and killed outside the Palm Court. And in case you all know the geography, Palm Court is less than a block from the president's official residence. They said people could turn up. He was there. He came out. He got a phone call. He came to the car. And two men, they said, jump out of a car nearby and riddled him with bullets. Postmortem, so he had 20 bullets. And they found how many casing, 30-something empty casings at the scene. And the cameras weren't working. Later, some day or so after, they found the car burnt out on the Linden Suzuki Highway at Swan, and they suspected that would have been the getaway car. And the police said, right, they couldn't raise the chassis number because the chassis number scratched out. So they couldn't raise the chassis number to know whose car it was and all of that. They couldn't do that. The same set of people. I understand now that they might have interviewed two men recently as they now reopen this investigation. And it is crucial for us to understand. And the link here, let me say it, because after this killing, and the thing went there, they not get no way, and we all had our suspicion as to why they weren't getting any place. A police sergeant, Bascom, came out, and he alleged that the head of the major crime unit, Michelle Caesar, assistant superintendent, I think at the time, took $30 million from businessman Azuddin Mohammed to cover up the murder. That was the allegation. That was the allegation. I say that to say, right, that then they never pursued that. They never questioned Azuddin Mohammed. He was never a suspect in this murder. One suspect they had, Rondell Bacchus. One, they put out wanted bulletin for Rondell Bacchus. Nothing to do with Azuddin Mohammed. And a man who worked with him, I think Mark Richmond was his name, who they claim. We're going to deal with it in more greater detail. I ain't got the time catching up with me. Right? But all of a sudden now that Azuddin Mohammed is seen as a threat to the PVP, they lose GRA for me. They lose GRA for me. They lose, now the police get very diligent. As I told you all on Wednesday, the crystal ball. They will do everything possible, both legal and illegal, to make sure that Azuddin Mohammed, who they see as one of the biggest threats to their continuing being in power, they're going to do everything to get you out of the race. I said on Wednesday, and I'm repeating it here for emphasis, Azuddin Mohammed and his team has to cross the T's and dot the I's. And no sooner than I said that, is yesterday when Azuddin Mohammed came out with the party logo. Let me show you all. This is what the party symbol is. Win. We invest in nationhood. That is it with the Jaguar. Oh God, they decide you can't use the Jaguar. You can't use the Jaguar. I told them, I'm telling you all, I've seen far. The Ministry of Social Protection come out that they add something is WIIN, and therefore they're suggesting that to use this is too close to what they to their thing, as if to say they have proprietary rights, as if to suggest that the thing was copyrighted. And even if it was copyrighted, it's not the same thing. So they come out and they say you can't use this. But look at this one. They don't tell you about that. This is Guyana Times. It's another Jaguar in the place of the letter O, R, Jaguar, AR, Ravi Dev, one of the supporters and so on. Nothing is wrong with that. But for Asadir Mohammed to use this Jaguar, maybe one is a male, one is a female, I don't know. But nothing, it is wrong to use this one, but it's not wrong to use this one, different type of Jaguar. You think they're easy and the ordinary? You think they're easy and the ordinary? And I'm saying again, before I bring in Mr. Conway for his close, Asadir Mohammed is seen as the biggest threat to the PPP. And the PPP will do everything possible to get him out of the race. I am saying to them here now, free advice, cross your T and dot your I's. Because when it comes to nomination day and all this everything, G-Com going to find all sorts of fault with the candidates. The logo, they already find, because I think the logo has to be submitted long before nomination day. I can't remember the exact date. They're going to find all sorts of fault to tell you that the people can't vote. The people can't end up on the list. Right? And let me say this to you. This paper charts thing we see the jumping up with there. Because remember paper charts, we talking about a murder investigation, you know. We talking about a murder investigation happened since 2021. They bring RSS and the RASS and all of them people. And we never heard about them investigating Asadir Mohammed or these people. But all of a sudden, you know, the reopen, and all of a sudden we hear, according to the president, FBI is investigating. Where we call for FBI to investigate Adriana Young murder. The U.S. ambassador said that a request has to be made. Up to now, they'll make no request. And I am saying this. What I said about FBI investigating is a damn lie. Because from the time this happened, FBI would have done wrap up what they got to do a long time. My understanding is, from my investigation, they asked FBI for some help. Because they had some grainy footage. We saw it of the actual killing of Fugandes. That's some grainy image, black and white grainy image. My information suggests that they might have asked for assistance to enhance the image to see if they can identify anybody. That is the extent of the involvement of the FBI. That is what I was told. Because if you're saying you want FBI, or you had FBI involved, FBI would have been able to raise the VIN number of the car. Because don't scratch out, you can't scratch out that. That thing is embedded in the metal, and they have methods to make sure that is raised. VIN numbers, firearm numbers. I know, I went through the training, where that can be raised easily to identify the VIN number. So I tell about FBI involved. They're doing it's a part of the method and the tactics to intimidate people. It's intended to intimidate. And be aware, T. Mohammed, be aware. You're going to hear just now the file gone to the DPP. And remember what Bernard DeSantis, the Attorney General, said about the current DPP. I ain't going to read it now. We run out of time. But we come in again with this if God spared life at the next program. Beware. Be aware. Be very, very aware. Right? And because once they decide that is a murder charge, then you ain't getting no bail, forget them. There are cases, Trinidad case, Guyana case, where murder accused have been granted bail, but that's after they have been in custody for some time. In the case of Trinidad, it went all the way to the Privy Council. And in the case of Guyana, Ian Chan, the late acting Chief Justice, had ruled, and that was a case where a man was on remand for a long time, and they keep, every session, the matter keep rolling over and all sort of thing, and the murder accused was put on bail at that time. I just warn him. I'm not here to at scaremongering. I'm just saying what the crystal ball has shown me, and I believe I have a civic duty to identify and to alert and to tell y'all. And I know by now the crystal ball don't fail. Y'all know that the crystal ball not failing. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for his closing, and then we're going to tell you something more. CC, you're closing, my brother.
All right. I wonder if they're going to remove the Jaguar from the Concoction Road and the highway and send him to Morudi Mountain or Ghana or the Pacorama Mountains or something. Well, let me, I always got to talk about my financial report. Region 1, the massive financial fraud where they get bogus accounts and all kind of thing from with all the senior men, the police finance office and Region 1 and all the bogus account. Apparently that has stalled, come to a stop. And then the ranks K2, Monkey Mountain, Paramatakai, Orangeuk, they're waiting to see the 2IC or the commando. They said they want to salute Jerry Govaya. They hear Jerry Govaya coming, but they want the commando or the 2IC who hold out in Major, who them more in Region 3 than anywhere else to come and visit them. They have serious issues coming up to election that they want to discuss, even the residents there. But they select Jerry Govaya with his bridesmaid, Earl Watts, Deputy Commissioner, and his ADC going to visit before them.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. I've been depriving you all of this for too long, so let me give you a little therapy.
Sit there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes, he is a friend of ours.
He claims...
Su? First time you hear the word relationship. Oh, relationship? That's a strange word. Never heard it before. Relationship? I got the next one I got to show y'all, man. I'm trying to find it there. I can't leave y'all this weekend without giving you proper therapy. Where is it? Hold with me, man. Hold. This one here. The fashion police, man. Every time I see this thing, I gotta laugh. Let the second ones come and say what they want to say. Man, stand out, man. Our president stood out. And if you believe he's alone, I don't know where they get this flat thing from. But look at this plan here. You think he can take out done? Fashion police need to be here. You think the man can take left? No, man don't take it left. Man get any plot suit too. Right? Man get any plot suit. President get any plot. So I don't know if this cloth is being, or the cloth is being bought at the police quartermaster store and just make suit with it. So you get the man, get the plot suit too. A real clown show, you know. That is not a real place, a real clown show. Well, let me tell you something. Nobody are getting me for wear that. I might say be old-fashioned and all sort of thing, but when I dress, I have to be well put together. Right? When you see Mark Phillips with all them nasty clothes he wearing and ropes men, there's no way my wife allowing me to leave home just like that. No way. And even me, my own dignity would not allow me to do that. Folks, we've had a long afternoon. I want to stand any longer between you and your little drinks that you're going to have and so on. Thanks for your attendance. Thanks for your attendance this afternoon. As I've said, there's so much to talk about with this same Fagundes thing, Adriana Young, and we have more issues to speak about. More. And as it is now, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. We are scheduled to come Monday morning, 11 o'clock, as usual. God spare life. You know, everything is in his hands, right? If he decide for us to come Monday morning, then we will come Monday morning to bring you more information, educate you more about what's going on in this dear land of Guyana, right? This dear land of Guyana. All the corruption, right? All the corruption. Because I saw something brewing now that $860-something million to get the critic for build the pump. I saw something we say now some Trinidadian farm has taken over this country, this project. After paying this man $160-something million critic, a Trinidadian farm is now to continue with the project. You think this place real? So what I'm telling you is 160-something million of we money that this man get. They're going to charge you for fraud. They said me, Conway, and 3 other retired police officers conspired to commit fraud in the sum of $10,052,000 Guyana dollars. Case dismissed, no case at all. This man, I understand, get an advance of $160-something million for this project. Project cost $860-something million. Now they have to take it away, give it to somebody. What has happened? The public needs to know. And again, these journalists, people go there on Thursdays and they don't ask this vice president, this so-called vice president, any real question. He should be made to answer those things every time. He is the face of the government. Not a good face, but he's the face nevertheless. Right? So, folks, until we meet again, as I've said, stay well. Make sure that you have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Stay well. For my brothers and sisters in the U.S., start enjoy your summer with your barbecue and all of these things, you're gathering at the park and so on. Right? So until then, stay well. Bye.